Hi guys, Logan Beavers here. I work with Mr. Cody. I've been handling his library stuff here lately, and I'm just going to touch base with y'all today about this thing that's been going on with him in the library. They seem to be targeting him in some type of, I'm speculating, a slander campaign coming from one particular branch. We're going to build up to that. Just let me give a short description of what we've been doing. Like I said, I handled his library stuff and I made the phone calls and scheduled the Meet the Author things. Now, Mr. Cody told me that this was going to go badly and that somebody in the library somewhere had it out for him. I didn't really believe him. I said, he's just paranoid, or he's a little skeptical and he's a little nervous about doing this, but boy, was I wrong. We're just witnessing it third person, I can tell you. Anyway, just let me give you a rundown of what I did here. I started off calling the smaller branches of the library, the West Monroe branch by the Louisville Bridge, the West Ouachita branch run by Kathy Franks. I'll just give you them in order. I started off calling the Kathy Franks library and didn't get an answer, so I proceeded to call the West Monroe by the Louisville Bridge. Had a good experience with them. We had set up a Meet the Author with the children, reading The Adventures of Todd and Susie. They were very excited to do this. I guess they don't have many children readers come in. I'm not really sure. But they were all for it, real gung-ho. Yeah, we'd love to have you, all that good stuff. We'd serve y'all juice and cookies. Anyway, so it was a pleasant experience. It was a sure thing, set in concrete. From there, I proceeded to go ahead and call back the Kathy Franks West Ouachita Branch Library. Now, I talked to the front desk girl, got transferred to Kathy Franks' desk, gave her my little speech, hey, I'm Logan Beavers, I'm with Creative Books, I represent a local author by the name of H. Paul Cody, yada yada yada. As soon as I said Mr. Cody's name, her whole speech demeanor seemed to change. There was just a lot of uhs, and filling in the awkward silences that were created by her, because I was trying to fill in awkward silences myself. Anyway, and I just got the impression that she just had a real bad taste in her mouth, given the fact that I brought up Mr. Cody's name, and she even said, yeah, he's read here before. We don't have nothing scheduled till next year, and we'll give you a call and yada yada yada. They give you the run. They don't ever plan on calling. So I said, hey, whatever. There's half a dozen or no more libraries to call. We'll just go ahead and go on. And we actually got a good little collection going of ones that would have us. Let me show you a little ledger we put together here. As you can see, we had one set for October the 4th at the West Monroe Branch Library. That's the one for the children by the Louisville Bridge. The Ouachita Valley Library at November the 10th. The Anna Meyer said recall, Miss Harrison wasn't in. The Carver McDonald branch, they calling us back. We sent them our portfolio. They seemed very positive about having us. Recall. The J.R. Cercery Memorial branch was scheduled for November the 17th. She was going to show us into her reading group. What was it called? I forget the name of it. But it was a few many people there, and she wanted us to be a part of that and show them a Meet the Author, so they could meet a real author. It was just a book club. I guess some of them write their own books. And the main branch asked us to recall over there on 18th Street. Anyway, but everybody that wanted us to recall, they just seemed to have a positive attitude about it, and obviously we was doing something right, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4 for sure that was set in concrete, or so I thought. Now, this was early before the Memorial Day weekend, so this is probably Wednesday. So here comes Thursday, Friday, and the weekend. Tuesday after the holiday, at their lunch break, I guess everybody had a big powwow or something. I'm not really sure. They had we come in for lunch, and Mr. Paul told me that we had a voicemail. So we listened to the voicemail, and it was the West Monroe branch canceling on us. Anyway, so I found that very awkward. So anyway, we proceeded to check the emails, and sure enough, the email, we had two cancellations on the email. This is wrong. That's all right. We had 2 cancellations on the email. If you look at the time over here, see it says 12:35 and 12:38. They were right next to each other. And on the call log, on the caller ID, it was like 12:30. So I'm assuming on their lunch breaks, they all got together, and somewhere down the chain of command, I'm speculating here, but based on her speech and things that have happened there in the past. If you watched the previous video, Mr. Cody was accused several times of not returning merchandise. He'd have to go pull it off the shelf himself and say, hey, here's your materials right here. Here's your movie or book or whatever. And they did that 3 times. He had to go to the 18th Street to let them know what was going on. And I think maybe the 18th Street people told Kathy Franks that he had went up there trying to clear the air. And I've talked to several people myself, and they've had similar experiences like that up there. I guess they do that to create revenue. I don't really know. But anyway, so we got this one from Terry Wright. I'm so sorry, but I will not be able to host your meet and greet at Louise Williams Library. I'll be attending to some personal business, and therefore I'll be out of the office a lot this month. Thanks for considering our branch. Just fine and dandy, I guess. Maybe she misplaced her personal memos of what she had planned that month and was just going off the library calendar, because keep in mind, when we're scheduling these events, they have a great big calendar in front of them that's filled in with their program dates, and what's empty is empty. There's not something going to be put on there, and maybe they read back to me their available dates, and I was able to choose from the ones that was most convenient for us. So we know for a fact these dates are open. Bonnie Sliger wrote back, due to previous commitments and scheduling conflicts, there we go again with that scheduling conflict, we are unable to commit to author signing at this time. Thank you for your interest in Ouachita Parish Public Library. We'll call you back or contact us in November or December or January or 5 years from now. Just things like this just kind of give you the impression that these people have no intention of, and same with the previous email, have no intentions of ever hosting us for some reason. So I got to wondering, and I listened to the voicemail, and she said something along the lines of, something came up, and it's just basically scheduling conflicts. And I said, wow, 3-4 of these libraries that have calendars that are used for scheduling that gave us their available dates. And keep in mind, these are multiple available dates from the month. I just chose the one that best fit us, our schedule. So all of these dates were open. One lady said, one librarian lady called and said, when I called her to ask what was going on, she said, well, her house had caught on fire and she'd be out of the office a lot this month. And I'm thinking to myself, our Meet the Author event was scheduled there for November the 10th, which is like 2 months away. I mean, how long is this lady's house planning on being on fire? Did they put it out yet? I was flabbergasted. I couldn't figure it out. So anyway, I guess she's got a long fire going on. I proceeded to write them an email to the main branch, to Robin Toms, letting her know what I knew for a fact was going on based on the evidence, and what I thought was going on based on my powers of deduction, so to say. Anyway, this letter is concerning the conduct of the different branches of the Ouachita Parish Library. My name is Logan Beavers. I'm the agent of Creative Books, and I represent the author, Mr. H. Paul Cody. Formally, this is a letter of grievance. I'm dismayed at the treatment of my client. I had scheduled 4 program times for the months of October and November. Scheduling dates were provided and approved by the branch managers of each respected library. They gave me these dates. They provided the dates that they were available. I had spoken with each library manager on the dates of August the 30th through September the 1st. Each calling was a successful agreement to meet at their library on the set date for a book reading and signing. These dates, up until our agreement was made, had been open and not filled with any conflicting activity for that set date and time. I know this because it was the library's own calendar that was clear of these dates. Anyway, in this time between these conversations and the day of September the 6th, the decision was made to cancel our book reading at each library with no just cause. This leads one to believe that there was some sort of communication between the various library branches concerning Mr. H. Paul Cody, obviously of the negative kind. Now, this is a long email here, and if you pause, you'll be able to read the whole thing. I'm not slandering nobody. I'm not saying nothing negative. I'm just really stating the facts and what, and in there, what I'm kind of speculating. If there's a slander campaign. Now, and here's the, you see it was 12:51. I'm sorry, it was after the 2 emails. Like I said, they all got together and had a powwow, and somewhere somebody said, y'all don't have nothing to do with this guy. And based on the positive interactions I had with all the other libraries, I don't think it was any one of them. Now, when I called the West Ouachita branch, like I said, I feel like she has something against Mr. Cody. I think that she sent out an email, or after the holiday weekend, I don't know how that works. They had a a big meeting between the libraries to just discuss whatever it is they discuss that the libraries have to talk about. And she passed along the word not to mess with Mr. Cody, not to host him. And all these people with the same excuses, I guess they didn't have a group meeting on which excuses they would use, but all these people with the same excuses called and emailed and said, we won't be able to do it, we won't be able to do it, just 4 or 5 days after we scheduled to do it. So, what our next plan of action was to write Robin Toms another email. Ocean she replied, she let us know, thank you for your time and effort. And yes, here it is. She replied to my email, Mr. Beavers, thank you for contacting me concerning this matter. I was unaware of any programs that had been scheduled with your client at our libraries, which they didn't even pass the note on to the higher ups. Hey, we're going to be hosting this Arthur. Y'all need to get on y'all's main Facebook page or get on y'all's email address and send out the emails. We're having somebody. We got something to do. No, they didn't even pass that up. She also was currently out of the office for a few days, but I will be following up on this as soon as possible. I guess all the district managers at the library are just never in their office. None of them. You mentioned the West Ouachita branch. Can you tell me which other branches were contacted and had programs scheduled and then canceled so that I can follow up with each one of them? And I sent her the information. You know, here it is. Thank you for your time and effort figuring out this matter. I give her each location and a short description of what happened, you know, scheduling it and then what happened with them canceling. And as you can see down here, I said the issue was resolved. I'm sorry, Mr. Coate went to the 18th Street Library and spoke with someone there complaining about the matter. The matter being when they would say that he had not returned his merchandise when he had. And they checked into it. And when the 18th Street Library checked into it, I think they called there, maybe made a complaint. I don't know how that works, but anyway, it left, like I said, a bad taste in these people's mouth at the West Ouachita Valley, at the West Ouachita branch. And they made him have a grudge against Mr. Cody, just like I spoke here in the library, in the email. I'm being completely honest with her, you know. And they've set the other libraries against him. You know, these librarians, they stick together. They're not being a sexist, but they're all women. They're going to have each other's backs. And I think that the library branch down there, the West Ouachita Library branch, I truly believe she made a phone call or sent out some emails and said, do not host Mr. Cody, don't have nothing to do with him. Don't even leave an air of opportunity for a call back, because if you go back, you'll see that none of them said would give us a shout back at a more convenient time, or like I said, even 5 years from now. Nothing. They just said thank you for your consideration after they were really excited to have us. And that really just sums it up.
Alright guys, tell them where you seen it at. If you like it, like it. And if you want to stay in touch, subscribe. We'll stay in touch. I'll even go check out your channel. Talk to you later. Bye.